Would you openly brag about taking down an organization that has long stood against outright and utter racism? Welcome to Courage and the Constitution. I'm just a guy digging behind the headlines to get to the nuggets of truth. I'm tired of the rhetoric and the propaganda. I'm being lied to by the media. I just want to know what's going on in the world. So let's do this. Well, if you're a gun owner but voted for Biden and Harris, and if you plan to vote for the Democrats, Ossoff and Warnock, in the upcoming Georgia election, if you live in Georgia, not only are you cutting off your own nose to spite your face, but you're voting against every single fellow gun owner in this country. In this series of videos, I'm looking at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's gun control plan. Now, guns are frightening to people who have no experience with them. I understand that. I do not fault people for their fears, especially with the constant onslaught of not only bad information but unshamed media lies that mainstream media pours out. Now, where I do take issue is with people who are so arrogant about their stance against guns, so confident in their self-righteous position that they will not even talk to people or take the opportunity to even shoot with folks and gain an actual understanding of guns and the real gun world. It's no different than someone who is white being afraid and mistrusting of those who are black because the white fellow had never had the opportunity to actually spend time with people of color and enjoy their company. If guns were a race, then anti-gun folks would be the terrified racists. With that, in our process of digging into the Biden-Harris gun control plan, let's take a look at just the second paragraph in their section about gun control on their website, what they want and what they aim to do. And by God, they are telling you exactly what they want. And it is, at least according to the Constitution, a near tyrannical overreach of their government. Joe Biden has taken on the National Rifle Association on the national stage, and he's won twice. In 1993, he shepherded through the Congress the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act, which established the background check system that has since kept more than 3 million firearms out of the dangerous hands. In 1994, Biden, along with Senator Dianne Feinstein, secured the passage of the 10-year ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. As president, Joe Biden will defeat the NRA again. Now first, I want to make clear that I myself am not an NRA member. There are decisions of theirs that I question and I disagree with. At the same time, I also see where they have stood historically and where they still stand in the gap today for pro-self-protection individuals and pro-gun sport enthusiasts who have no voice of their own, yet experience a constant attack against them. It should be no surprise of an attack against them on the potential president-elect's website as well. Actually, I definitely understand the attack against the NRA. They are a large collective of voices that represent multiple millions in this country, including those who are not necessarily gun owners themselves, but absolutely stand with the Second Amendment and the right for a populace to stand, at the very least, against a tyrannical government, should it come to that. What needs to be understood very clearly is that the progressive left, including Biden and Harris, but spreading far beyond just them, do want to ban guns. I'll make this point clear. Yes, they do want a ban and confiscation. That is 100% certain. They came right out and they say it themselves. Those who disagree that this is the case either ignore what these people are really saying, or their information outlets will not share it with them. Whether or not the left can accomplish this, to what measure of ease that they can do so, and what compliance of Americans that they receive, are all questions that are yet still to be answered. There is a saying that says, aim for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll end up among the stars. Well, the moon for the progressives is bans and absolute confiscation. And I'm going to say that over and over. The more of them who are of that same mindset and desire, the more radical flavor of Democrat, the more of them that are elected into the high-level political positions, the closer they get to that goal. These people live in bubbles and ivory towers, and regardless of how much they say that they're fighting for the common man and the woman, they play the political game and jump aboard the most advantageous train for their own careers and gain. This does not discount some Republicans either. Now, in Georgia, not every Democrat is like this. Vernon Jones, for example, is a very respectable man in many ways. He stands on principle and is not willing to stain his own ethic. Now, Ossoff, one of the two Democrats running for the Senate, is just the opposite. He pays into the game, and he makes no qualms about wanting to ban millions of firearms from people who use, whether for sport or self-protection. Oh, and Raphael Warnock? He's backed by Everytown for gun safety. And Moms Demand Action, among others. Those are Michael Bloomberg's machines that pumps millions, multiple millions, into efforts to, yes, actually disarm, take, ban, and confiscate guns from Americans. Now keep in mind, when seeing titles like Everytown for gun safety and the like, the names of these groups and campaigns are very carefully worded to come across as beautiful butterflies, when in reality they're Trojan horses, and inside is the truth. To disarm the whole of the populace, a move to leave people to be easy targets, especially in the defund the police effort, which some Democrats are quickly backpedaling away from, Obama, for example, because though their stance and goals have not changed, they realized that they overstepped their naming with too radical a sounding title. So why mention the two senators running for election in the Georgia Senate when this is supposed to be about the facts about the Biden-Harris gun policy? Well, the position of the potential Democrat senators to cast their vote in the Senate is very dangerous, because if the two Democrats are elected, and if Biden is confirmed as president, the Senate will be tied 50-50. That means the tiebreaker on Senate votes to pass laws, including gun bans and confiscation, goes to Harris, who, yes, is much more radical than even Joe Biden. She proudly announces her desire to shoot for the moon. And why is that dangerous? Well, read the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States yourself, and imagine the power the government would have over the people if that which gives teeth to the entire Constitution was no longer in the hands of the people. Quite literally, they want to change we the people to you the governed. Now, who, as stated on his website, did Joe Biden side with when securing the passage of the assault rifle, the modern sporting rifle, outright ban? Dianne Feinstein, who, as it is no secret, absolutely hates, and I mean hates with a zeal, guns and gun ownership. She, like so many on the left, are absolutely ignorant of the reality of guns and the gun community. Yet she stands with such self-righteous indignation over those of us who see the forest for the trees and can't help but scratch our heads over the things that she and people like her say. She may be intelligent in some areas, but in this, she's lost. She just knows that there is power to be gained to stand on such a platform. Now just look at the way that she holds this AK as a scary prop with her finger wrapped nervously around the trigger. No flag denoting the action is safe, while having muzzled, and that means pointing the gun at people, whether intentionally or unintentionally, at people around her. She is a classic example of not knowing what she is talking about and fearing that which she does not understand. Now, at least the NRA preaches ad nauseum over and over and over gun safety and proper handling. But more about the NRA in just a moment. That assault rifle ban that Feinstein and Biden championed, oh, and the ban on the high-capacity magazines. By the way, do you know what it is considered to be high capacity, according to them? Is it 1,000 rounds? 100? 75? No. Anything above 10. Yep. That's right. That's what they consider to be high capacity. Anything above 10. They use high capacity as a phrase, just as Biden began his whole section on his website with gun violence. And they continue to use made-up terms as well. Terms like weapons of war or assault rifle to create that emotional reaction in the low-informed. As far as the success of that ban, none. Zero. Zip, nada. Study after study, after the sunset of that ban that were done, which originally was actually not supposed to have a sunset. It was supposed to be a permanent loss of America's favorite sporting rifles. But the study showed that the amount of violence quelled because of the bill was statistically zero. That was it. It had no effect. It cost millions, and they want to do it again. Now let's quickly just touch on the NRA, that big scary right-wing extremist and terrorist organization, and what else are they called? Pro-gun violence group that Biden brags about taking down and vows to do again, dismantling them. They are literally the group promoting gun safety among all the American firearms owners. Yeah. The same people who argue that Planned Parenthood must stand because though abortions, even late-term fetal dismemberments, are a small part of the service that they offer, they still do so much for women and for women's rights. Will not turn around and use the same tactic, and they'll say against the NRA that they hate a group who they want to take down because they claim it encourages violence, which it actually does not in any category, while they offer so much more than just lobbying. That part about the NRA that they really hate. So the NRA reaches across all aisles, and it has memberships of every race, along all points of the political spectrum. It's got memberships of every sexuality, creed, etc. They reach out to even minority communities to offer to teach them about and increase safety. The NRA welcomes the elderly and the handicapped. Oh, and they do not welcome race baiting, as well as they refuse membership to racists and supremacists. Those are actual facts. Not exactly what you hear from the media, is it? Well, the list could go on, but I'll take a few seconds to list just a few facts about the NRA that people who give fidelity to the mainstream media and the Democrat Party mostly do not know. So, the NRA. It teaches people about firearms, what they are, how they work, how to use them, maintain them, and store them safely. They teach the 4 basic gun laws. Always treat a gun as if it were loaded. Never point to anything you don't intend to destroy. Dianne Feinstein. Always be aware of what is beyond your target. And always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Dianne Feinstein. Excuse me. They instill a culture of not fearing firearms, but to also handle them with the utmost care and responsibility. They fought for the rights for Black Americans. And this part is really important. They are the ones who fought for the rights for Black Americans and freed slaves to have the same rights as anyone else under the Constitution. Countless murders and shootings have been thwarted by NRA members and those trained by NRA instructors. The NRA stood with Black Americans during the Civil Rights Movement. They sponsor sport shooting competitions. So, to oppose the NRA is to create victims of violent crime, even if it's not with a gun. Now, of course, the left will never paint it as such, and for good reason. And I don't blame them. They have an agenda, and they have a goal, and people will not often impede on their own progress. For the progressive Democrat machine to act with integrity and handle the truth with honor would actually destroy their entire mission. In subsequent videos, I'll look at more of the Biden-Harris position on firearms. Now remember, they are shooting for the moon. If there is nobody to oppose them, if they win the Senate, then they pack the Supreme Court as they want to do. They will not just hit somewhere out among the stars. The progressive Democrats of today are not the same Democrat Party that we've known. These people, they're angry, and they've shown their positions of radical irrationality. Now, not all Democrats, mind you, but certainly the progressive brand for sure, that are overtaking and even splitting the Democrat Party itself. Politicians have mostly played by certain, whether written or unwritten, political rules. The progressives, they're writing their own, and it's easier for them to win their game if they can disarm anyone who could be a potential opponent to them. If you find this content of value and you believe that others would benefit from it, please like, subscribe, and share. It will do a lot to help us all out.